Okay, we'll start now. Today what I'm going to do is uh, I'm going to take up 5 case studies which were inspired by current affairs, basically contemporary affairs of last, let us say, 6, 7, 8 months. Uh, Actually, I got suggestions from some students that they want me to take these case studies. They suggested some topics which I have developed in a full-fledged case study, and then accordingly now I am taking up. Now these case studies definitely are going to be very helpful for the students who are preparing because they will understand how to write good answers for case studies. But this may be very useful to those students who are going to appear in ethics paper of this year's exam, which is on coming 24th. So I hope that these case studies, which I'm taking up today, are going to be helpful for the preparations as well as actual exam of this year. Now, I will just share the PDF and then we'll start discussing uh, what is the what are the topics and the case studies which I'm going to take up. Now, these case studies I have developed just like UPSC case studies because UPSC case studies you might have seen are usually now very long paragraphs they are giving, roughly about 200 to 250 words. And then sometimes 2 questions, sometimes 3 questions. In 1 or 2 case studies, 4 questions they are also putting. This has to be answered in about 250 words for 20 marks. Uh, every year we see that 1 or 2 case studies of 6, because there are 6 case studies in part B, are inspired by current affairs. So I hope that 2 case studies which are asked in this year's exam, uh, substantially we are going to cover those case studies. That's what my understanding is. So now let us start, because without wasting further time in introduction, let us go straightway to the case studies. This is first case study. I will just read it to understand the what is the case study and what is the directive of the questions asked, and then accordingly we'll try to frame the answers. So you are the district magistrate of a district that has recently witnessed a major terrorist attack targeting a specific religious community. The attack has triggered violent riots in which members of the victim community have resorted to acts of vengeance against another community, resulting in loss of lives, destruction of property, and a climate of hatred. The situation is tense, and there is a high risk of further escalation if not handled swiftly and sensitively. The district is also under national media scrutiny, and political leaders are making statements that may inflame passions. As the administrative head of the district, you are expected to restore law and order, ensure justice for the victims, and promote communal harmony. In an environment where trust between communities has been severely damaged. Now, this is the situation described after violence incidents. Now, the questions are, what are the possible options available to you as the district magistrate in dealing with this crisis? So, you have to list out the possible options. Second part is, which course of action would you choose as most appropriate? So you have to tell out of the possible options what is the most appropriate option is going to be and which you are going to choose, and then why. You have to give reasons also, and particularly you have to justify your answer with ethical reasoning, legal provisions, and administrative principles. So basically, if you can understand, this is a 3 part question. First is possible options you have to list. Second, you have to select the course of action, and third, you have to justify your selection, basically. So now let us try to go into the answer. Now, what are the options available? See, options available are: first, strict law and order measures. impose prohibitory orders under BNS 2023. Now, as you know, now IPC and CRPCs have been removed. So earlier it was CRPC. Now it's BNSS, Bharati Nagarik Suraksha Samhita. So sections 167 to 172, they provide the prohibitory orders provisions. So requisition military forces, preventive detention under NSA 1980 also can be resorted to if required. Now, what are the pros of this option? This is immediate containment will be there. Then cons, if perceived as a biased, may deepen mistrust. And as Raul's, justice, he said, justice must be seen to be done. This is very important. So, if there is some misconception, it may further worsen the situation. Now, what are the second option? Justice and relief measures. Register FIRs under BNS 2023, offense against life, property, religious harmony. So, Bharati Nyaya Samhita, this is again another new act in 2023. It has been brought, replacing Indian Penal Code. Now, religious harmony, this is section 194 of BNS. Investigate within BNSS limit. BNSS again, Bharati Nagarik Suraksha Samhita. Timelines, because there in that act, timelines have been provided for various kind of investigation by police, and distribute relief, etc. via SDRF. So SDRF you can use, or if required, NDRF is also there. Now, what is pros of this option? Upholds distributive justice. Cons, slower to curb the active violence, because your focus will be more on justice. So there, it's little slower for the curbing violence. What is third option? Community engagement, peace committees, interfaith appeals, rumor control via IT Act 2000, and cyber cells. So all these steps you can take for community engagement and rumor controlling. Now, what are pros for this? Builds long-term trust, and as Gandhi says, Sarvdharm Sambhav. Cons, requires pre-existing goodwill. If there is a pre-existing goodwill, then only it can be done. Now, what will be chosen course of action? I have written multi-pronged integrated strategy. See, neither of the options stated above in themselves or in itself is sufficient. So we require here in this case multi-pronged integrated strategy. Now, why? The reason is, as there was a question, why? So we will first reply there, then action plan we will tell, and then we will try to justify legal and ethical provisions also we will like to tell. Now, it combines immediate control, which is very, very important, justice delivery, and long-term reconciliation. And all three are required in such situations. It avoids pitfalls of unilateral reliance on any one approach, because as you have seen, every approach has some or the other cons. So if you take an integrated strategy, it's going to basically avoid all negative points of individual approaches. Now, what will be the action plan? First, immediate control. BNSS prohibitory orders, rapid action force deployment as per MHA's SOPs, because impartiality and rule of law, following impartiality and rule of law, as A.V. Dicey has enunciated. Then swift justice. So on the one hand, law and order has to be strictly enforced. On the other hand, swift justice, that is neutral arrest should be there. BSA compliant evidence handling, fast track courts, accountability, etc., as prescribed by deontology of Kant. Then humanitarian relief, because whosoever are the victims, medical aid, shelters, counseling, because this compassion and Article 21 both prescribe this. Next is trust building. peace committees, dialogues, civil society mediation, as Amartya Sen says, capability restoration or capability approach or capability building. And then transparency. This is very, very important in control of any law and order situation, any this kind of situation. Daily briefing should be there. Verified social media updates should be given. And this has been prescribed by second ARC and probity. Now you can draw also three-pillar response model also. That is, first is law and order, which is BNSS, NSA, SOPs, then justice and relief, and then trust building. So all, I mean, basically three-pronged strategy, multi-pronged strategy, integrated approach has to be followed. So then in the question directive you might have seen, what are the legal basis, ethical basis? That also we need to explicitly write, because that has been asked in the question itself. So legal basis, BNSS 23, BNS 23, BSA 23, NSA 1980. So all these are BNSS, BNS, and BSA. All three are new acts, as you know, they replaced IPC, CRPC, and Evidence Act. NSA 1980 is old act and that is still applicable. Then Constitution. Indian Constitution's Articles 14, 21, and 25 also form the legal basis of these kind of action. What is ethical basis? Ethical basis is utilitarianism of Bentham, deontology of Kant, virtue ethics of Aristotle. And what will be the result of all this? What will be the outcome? Immediate peace will be restored, plus sustained communal harmony will be ensured, and citizen trust will be restored. So this, if you have observed in this answer, we have referred a number of ethical theories. We have quoted ethical thinkers. We have a number of legal provisions have been quoted, and a comprehensive integrated multi-pronged strategy has been suggested. Now let us go to second case study. You are the superintendent of police in a district that has been grappling with a persistent and organized network of child, girl, and sex trafficking. After months of surveillance and high risk special operation, you successfully apprehend the main accused, notorious for repeated arrests, followed by swift bail or acquittal due to influential political and criminal connections. News of the arrest spreads rapidly, and a large crowd gathers outside the operation site. The community, deeply angered by the years of unchecked exploitation, demands instant justice, calling for the accused to be killed on the spot. Many in the crowd claim that if handed over to the courts, the accused will again escape punishment, citing previous failures of the justice system. The situation is volatile. Crowd numbers are swelling, slogans and threats escalate. Social media live streams are fueling the demand for immediate execution. The accused are in your custody, physically unharmed. Any perception of police bias or fake encounter could trigger judicial inquiry, human rights action, and loss of public trust as well. Simultaneously, there is intense moral outrage over the heinous crimes committed. As SP, you are duty bound to uphold the rule of law, prevent mob justice, and ensure safe prosecution of the accused, while also addressing public anger and protecting victims' dignity. Now, this is a case study, and as I told, all the case studies are based on some kind of real incidents occurring in one or the other state, as you can easily relate also if you apply your mind little deeply. So names have not been given, obviously, for obvious reasons, and the case studies are also asked in this model only. So accordingly, these case studies are very, very important. And that's what I just want to tell. Now, what are the questions based on this case study? What are the possible options available to you in this scenario? Which course of action would you adopt as most appropriate? Justify with reference to ethical principles, legal provisions, and public administration values. So questions are almost similar, and perhaps in next one or two case studies also it will be similar only. because today I'm going to take 5 case studies. So you can understand all 5 are very, very important from current affairs point of view. So now let us try to go to the answer part of this. Now options available. First is mob execution itself. Uh, Now pro instant public satisfaction. Now cons of this will be very, very severe for any police. As you know, it violates Article 21. It violates rule of law. It violates Supreme Court directions also in PUCL and state of Maharashtra. And it invites criminal liability and erodes institutional trust. There will be National Human Rights Commission cases. There will be some other Supreme Court cases. There will be ministerial inquiry. So all those problems are going to happen. Now, second is lawful arrest and prosecution. Secure accused, register FIR under BNS 2023, section 141 to 150. I mean, they deal with trafficking, sexual offenses, and conspiracy. Follow BNSS arrest protocols. Preserve evidence under BSA 2023. So this is usually what police does basically. Now, pros will be it upholds due process. Cons, public doubts effectiveness due to past acquittals. Because as in the case study itself has been given, because of its powerful approach or his links, this criminal always comes out untouched basically. Third is public engagement and crowd control. Invoke BNSS section 167 to 172. Address crowd via leaders, promise strict enforcement of POSCO Act and ITPA. Now this reduces tension, may instantly satisfy anger. So not satisfy anger. So because this kind of assurances sometimes are not heeded by any crowd. So that also may be the thing. Now, what is the action a police officer or SP of the district will do? Now, again, here also integrated strategy is required, because a single approach will not help here, because on the one hand, crowd is there. On the other hand, the criminal is there. So therefore, integrated approach is required. And why it is required, let us understand that also. It ensures immediate safety, legal robustness, and public reassurance, avoiding the illegality of mob justice and ineffectiveness of isolated measures. So basically, 2 kinds of things has to be controlled. First thing, illegality of mob justice has to be checked, and second, ineffectiveness of earlier isolated measures also have to be rectified. So unless that is done, crowd will not be satisfied, and actually justice also will not be delivered. Now, what will be the action plan? Immediate control has to be done. Evacuate accused under BNSS provisions. Deploy rapid action force. Second, strong legal action needs to be taken. File watertight charges. Ensure BSA compliant evidence. Seek special court trial monitoring. Because sometimes in such cases, day-to-day trial is also done. Public assurance, transparent communication, cite victim protection measures, invoke Gandhiji's principle that means must be as pure as ends. And this is ethically required also, because for achieving some right end also, you cannot follow impure means, illegal means. That cannot be done. So that has to be clearly explained to public, because this is not legally right, this is not ethically right as well. Now, what are the ethical basis of this approach? Because it has been asked ethical basis also. So Kantian deontology, that is duty of law. Utilitarianism, preventing greater harm. Probity and impartiality, that is second ARC, and Max Weber's approach. Here also, if you see 3 pillars of ethical policing, well, this is not only policing, this is ethical policing we are going to advocate here. So first is law enforcement, which is done by BNSS, BNS, and BSA. Second is legal action, that is POSCO and ITPA. Third is public assurance. by transparency and Gandhi's ethics. And what will be the outcome? It preserves constitutional morality, protects human rights, ensures justice, and strengthens public trust. Now we'll go to third case study. Again, this is also very, very relevant case study. Let us understand that also. You are a mid-level government officer tasked with auditing public infrastructure and welfare projects in your district. During routine verification, you uncover serious irregularities, inflated bills, fictitious beneficiaries, and diversion of materials. A preliminary inquiry reveals that these malpractices are linked to a nexus involving certain senior colleagues, local politicians, and influential middlemen. So this is very important, and this happens usually in any kind of corruption. As your audit notes implicate key individuals, you begin to face persistence, pressure, and intimidation. Threats also. Colleagues informally advise you to adjust the report in the interest of departmental harmony. Contractors make indirect remarks suggesting trouble if you continue pursuing the matter. You receive anonymous late-night calls warning you to drop the issue to avoid creating problems for yourself and your family. You possess documentary evidence that could substantiate the wrongdoing. However, proceeding could strain professional relationship, invite retaliation, create a hostile work environment, and potentially endanger the safety of you and your family. And this, you can imagine, this is a very, very real kind of situation. And many officers who are working or who are retired can relate to these kind of situations. Now, what are the questions? What possible options are available to you in this situation? Because they are very, very critical situation. Which course of action would you adopt and why? Justify with reference to ethical principles, legal provisions, and values of public administration. Now, let us try to explore the answer. First is ignore or dilute findings. This, of course, avoids conflict and personal risk because you are accepting what powerful fellows are saying, irrespective of what is legal or illegal. But what are the cons of this? It breaches Article 51A, that is fundamental duty of any citizen also. It breaches probity and CCS conduct rules. It amounts to aiding corruption. It's very, very important. Second option can be immediate public exposure. You go to the press immediately, left and right, and start telling this is what is happening. Strong anti-corruption stance, because that kind of exposure is strong anti-corruption stance, but it risks evidence tampering. Because going to press or going to media is not a solution. That fellow will not be punished by that unless there is a procedurally correct action taken. But so it risks evidence tampering, personal safety, and procedural irregularities also. Because you are not following the procedure. It will risk your personal safety also. So third is protected legal escalation. Huge Whistleblowers Protection Act provisions, Prevention of Corruption Act, and audit protocols involve State Vigilance Commission, CVC, and CAG, etc. Now, this it preserves evidence integrity, ensures legal cover, upholds Article 14 and 21. What will be the cons? May face subtle workplace hostility. Now, what will be the chosen course of action? Again, integrated lawful response should be chosen. First is evidence security is very, very important. Digitally back up and store hard copies securely, ensuring BSA 2023 admissibility clauses. Second is legal reporting. Escalate through designated vigilance channels, seeking whistleblower protection, send sealed copies to CAG for institutional record, etc. Third is safety measures. Notify the police of the threats which you have got, request security under workplace security norms, because protection is very, very important for you and your family. Third Next is controlled communication. Avoid media leaks because that is not a very correct way of dealing these kind of crises. So a controlled kind of communication should be there. Avoid media leaks, maintain confidentiality. Then next is personal neutrality, professional neutrality. Continue duties without bias as prescribed in CCS conduct rules. Now, what is the ethical justification? What can be ethical justification for this approach? Content deontology, duty to uphold law and law despite extreme pressure also. Utilitarianism, maximizing public welfare by ensuring resources reach beneficiaries because there should not be leakage or pilferage. Gandhian ethics, means must be as pure as ends. And then in second ARC, probity and accountability, and also Max Weber's bureaucratic ethics. So all these are going to suggest or approve your course of action. Again, triad you can draw here also. First is evidence security, VSA plus audit protocol. Second is legal escalation, whistleblower act and prevention of corruption act. Third is personal safety, police and workplace norms, etc. What will be the outcome of this approach? This upholds constitutional morality. It protects rights under Article 14 and 21. It preserves evidence and reinforces public trust in governance. Now we'll go to next case study. This is fourth one. You are a district magistrate of a district where a tragic incident has occurred. A minor girl, reportedly a victim of sexual assault, has died after self-immolation. Preliminary reports and eyewitnesses accounts allege that certain local officials were dismissive and insensitive when she tried to lodge her complaint. News of her death has spread rapidly through local communities and social media, triggering public outrage. A large section of the population perceives it as a case of administrative apathy and denial of justice. The situation has escalated into violent protests and rioting, targeting police stations, government offices, and the residences of accused officials. The situation is tense. Protesters are demanding immediate suspension and arrest of concerned officials. Local and national media are running continuous coverage, intensifying pressure. Political leaders and activists are issuing provocative statements, further inflaming sentiments. There is a risk of the unrest spreading to neighboring areas if not handled swiftly and sensitively. As the district administrative head, you have to resolve law and order, ensure justice for the victim, address public grievances, and take corrective administrative measures to prevent recurrence, while also maintaining constitutional morality and due process under laws like POSCO, BNS, and BNSS. What will be the questions? What are the possible options available to you to address the immediate crisis? Which course of action would you choose and why? Justify with ethical principles, legal provisions, and values of public administration. Now, this case study is also very real kind of case study. It happens. I mean, I have also faced in when I posted in the district such kind of situation. And usually bureaucrats do face when they are working in the field, because for some subordinate officer will be very casually dealing with these kind of sensitive cases, and ultimately the whole problem will be created. So now let us see what will be the solution. Now, options available: forceful riot suppression, pros, quick restoration of order. Cons: may escalate violence, erode public trust, and breach Article 21 proportionality. Second, only administrative action. Pros are it signals accountability, but without law and order control, unrest persists and it risks politicization also. Third is integrated lawful response. It balances rule of law, victim justice, and public confidence. What will be the chosen course of action? Of course, integrated strategy. Now, in law and order issue, deploy additional forces under BNSS 2023, impose targeted prohibited orders, and follow MHA protocols, ensuring minimal force. Then second is swift justice. Suspend accused officials, register FIRs under BNS 2023 and POSCO Act, form sit for impartial investigation, a special investigation team. So all these are very, very important for swift justice. And unless it is accompanied, it is also done, things will not be under control. Then public engagement, again very important, transparent press briefings, verified social media updates, community leaders mediation, all these will ensure that you are gaining the confidence and trust of the public. Then victim-centric measures, immediate compensation, because every state government has rules to provide compensation in these kind of situations to the victims, counseling and legal aid under victim assistance schemes, then institutional reforms, so that future recurrence is not there. Gender sensitization training, you have to take mandatory SOP compliance for sexual offenses. You have to enforce in police stations, you have to enforce in your offices, compliant handling as per second ARC. Then what is the ethical justification for this action? First is content deontology, upholding the dignity and justice as it is your duty, because you have to do the duty. Utilitarianism, again, minimizing harm and restoring peace. Third is value ethics of Aristotle, virtue ethics of Aristotle, demonstrating courage, justice, and prudence. Then Gandhian ethics, compassion in grievance redressal. Then probity and accountability is again very, very important. So all these ethical principles justify your course of action. Again, here also you can form the triad of the three integrated approach. First is crisis control, second is swift justice, third is systemic reforms. And its outcome will be, it restores constitutional morality, Articles 14, 21, 39A, delivers justice through due process, rebuilds trust, and strengthens preventive mechanisms. Now we'll go to the last case study. In 2019, the State School Recruitment Commission, SSRC, conducted a large-scale examination to fill thousands of teaching and non-teaching posts in state-run schools. The process included a written test followed by interviews, and final merit lists were published in the same year. Successful candidates joined their posts and have since been working across the state. 5 years later, in 2024, a special review by the State Oversights and Accountability Office revealed serious irregularities in the recruitment process. Discrepancies between marks shown on candidates' scorecards and those in original answer sheets. Candidates who failed earlier stages appearing in top ranks in the final merit list. Missing or tampered OMR sheets and evaluation records. Anonymous complaints alleging bribery, impersonation, and collusion between insiders and external agents. A confidential interim report estimated that over half of the appointments could be tainted. It's very, very important. But due to lack of biometric verification, CCTV coverage, or secure digital records in 2019, it is impossible to fully segregate guilty from innocent at this stage. You have just taken charge as the Director of the Public Education. Civil society demands full cancellation of appointments to protect meritocracy, while teachers' associations warn that innocent employees will be unfairly punished. Public trust in the education system is at stake. Now, this is also again real case study. Many of you can relate. Recent court judgments and cases in the states have happened. What are the questions? Identify and analyze the key ethical issues in this case, linking them to foundational values of public service. Second, as the director, outline the immediate steps you would take to address the allegations in a fair, transparent, and legally sustainable manner. Third, suggest systemic reforms to ensure integrity, transparency, and fairness in future recruitment process, preventing such irregularities. So these are three questions. Now let us try to understand how these three questions can be tackled. First question is key ethical issues and foundational values. The recruitment is vitiated by bribery, impersonation, and record tampering, violating integrity, objectivity, transparency, and accountability. Now, these are reflected in Nolan principles as well as second ARC on ethics. The inability to segregate tainted from untainted threatens fairness and equal opportunity. This is very, very significant here. Even courts have also quoted like that. Now, this state of affairs involves first thing deontology of Kant, duty to uphold meritocracy even if hardship results, then utilitarianism of Bentham and Mill, greater good in restoring public trust via blanket cancellation, then Raoult's fair equality of opportunity, level playing field possible only after cleansing, and then virtue ethics of Aristotle, compassion demands relief for proven innocence. Usually you will see in these kind of case studies multiple ethical principles apply, and I suggest you to quote or narrate multiple ethical principles whichever are applicable. It's not that only you are writing one and you feel that you have done your sufficient. It's not. So whichever 2, 3, 4 you remember and are going to apply, please write that. Then what are the legal precedents? Now, first case is, legal precedents, usually we quote Supreme Court cases, and a lot of relevance is there as far as Supreme Court cases to this case study is concerned. So let us understand that. Now, first case is Center for Public Interest Litigation and Union of India. This is 2G 2012 case. This case is stressed probity. Now, second case, Union of India versus O. Chakradhar in 2002. This case upheld wholesale cancellation. In fact, it says that even if it results in hardships to some candidates who are fairly selected, still whole exam or whole cancellation can be resorted to ensure overall fairness. Now, third is very, very recent case. You will remember, you might have already studied in other general studies paper. State of West Bengal versus SSC teachers case 2025. It allowed interim relief for untented. In fact, this case also upheld the cancellation which High Court, Calcutta High Court has passed the judgment for. But along with that, it modified the order and some interim relief for untented candidates were given by this case. So these 3, 4 cases are very, very important for dealing with this case study, because then only you can answer it properly. Now, what are the immediate steps as a director you will take? First is cancel recruitment, citing Chakradhar and WBSSC 2025 rulings, because in both the cases, they suggest that, Supreme Court suggests that such kind of recruitment should be cancelled, despite the fact 4 or 5 years have elapsed, despite the fact some of the candidates are genuinely selected. Since segregation is not possible, you have no other option. Had segregation been possible, you could have segregated, okay, these 100 candidates or this 50% or 30%, these candidates were selected fairly, so they can continue, another 70% will go, but it's not possible, as the case study itself says. So therefore, cancel the recruitment is the first step, has to be taken. Constitute a judicially monitored sit to verify proven untainted candidates. Relief for such candidates, for example, age relaxation, priority in fresh selection, experience weightage, temporary contractual service, all these kinds of reliefs can be given to them, because it's not their fault. So, okay, we are not able to continue you in the job, in the same job, but yes, these kind of relaxations can be given to you. In fact, if you remember, some candidates in West Bengal case, they requested the Supreme Court that we had already earlier some government job, we have left and then came and joined as teachers, though they were allowed to possibly go and join their old jobs also. So, what I want to say is, if you are able to segregate untainted candidates, proven untainted candidates, you can give certain reliefs that needs to be mentioned here. Now, prosecute guilty officials, vendors under BNS 2023 provisions, because they need to be prosecuted. This is very, very important. If some fellow or some commission or some selection committee or some selection council has done something wrong criminally, they need to be punished under criminal laws. And these are the laws. If you can see the BNS. Cheating, section 318, forgery of valuable security, 336, forgery of forgery for purpose of cheating 338, using false documents section 340, and also under Prevention of Corruption Act. Then blacklist the agencies, recover undue gains. All these things can be done. Maintain school continuity with ad hoc appointments, because this action should not disrupt the teaching in the schools. So maybe the untainted candidates, as has already been suggested, on contract they may be, or ad hoc appointments, they may continue for some time, till the time selected teachers are available, fairly selected teachers are available. Now, third portion is what are the systemic reforms which you will take, which so that these kind of irregularities or criminal irregularities are not repeated in future. First is technology safeguards, very, very important. Because as the case study says, there are no biometric records available, no CCTV records available. So this is very, very wrong. So here, biometric verification, CCTV, encrypted OMRs, AI anomaly detection, and GPS tracking, all these can be implemented. Second is governance. Statutory SOPs should be enunciated, should be released. Independent audit should be done. Whistleblower protection act provision should be followed. And third is transparency. Public answer keys, anonymized scorecards, structured appeal system, because if some grievance is there, the candidate should be immediately in a time-bound manner asked to apply, and rechecking or grievance redressal should be done. So all these things can be taken up for future, to stop the future recurrence of such kind of incidents. What is the conclusion? Cancelling the tainted recruitment while granting proportionate relief to proven untainted candidates safeguards both systemic integrity and natural justice. This approach, grounded in constitutional morality and public trust doctrine, restores faith in merit-based public service while ensuring such breaches are structurally prevented. Now, this basically completes the 5 case studies which I wanted to take up today, which are inspired and based on current affairs, and very, very important from point of view of this year's exam, as well as also understanding for the understanding of those students who are preparing for next year's exam. I do hope that this video is going to be very useful to all those candidates and students. Now, thank you for watching this video. Next week, I am again going to take up another topic, which I mean, in continuation from last lecture, I will take next topic of the ethics in the syllabus. So we'll meet again in next class. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you once.